Oh, hello. Welcome to the third video in a series on the EU referendum. And since I last recorded, Sarah Wollaston, Dr Sarah Wollaston, who is the chair of the Health Committee, Select Committee in the House of Commons, and a very distinguished parliamentarian by now, independent of mind, and quite sincere in her politics, I find, watching her over the years, has called time on supporting the lies. I said yesterday that the 350 million was nowhere near the truth. I also said yesterday that I've never come across such a campaign in all my years observing politics where such misleading statements have been made by people who should know better. So she has come out and says, I can't support the Leave campaign anymore because they're lying about the 350 million. They're saying untruths about what's going to happen to the National Health Service. And more importantly, even, I reckon, she's very worried that the tone of the Leave campaign is so similar to the campaigning style of UKIP over the years. And I have to say, any observer can see that happening. They've concentrated on the immigration issue, probably because Farage has told them that's our only hope. We've lost on the economy. We are now losing on the National Health Service. We are losing on the 350 million. That was nowhere near what the figure is. It's half that, without taking into account the other benefits that run into hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions. So he probably has told them, look, let's stick on the old referendum, on the immigration. Anyway, more about that some other day. And then another significant thing today has been Tony Blair and John Major. And they have raised two very important points, one of which we all know about. It is clear, let us not be under any illusion, should we leave the EU, Scotland probably are going to vote overwhelmingly for remaining in. And immediately, not only do we have an European crisis, a constitutional crisis in Europe, we will have a constitutional crisis in the UK as well. And more importantly even than that, they have raised the question of the border between Northern Ireland and Ireland. Because remember, that will be only, should we be outside the EU, that border will be the only land border between Europe and the UK. And Mary McAleese has entered the debate. Those of you who remember Mary McAleese, who was a distinguished and prominent and well-regarded president of Ireland, served for 2 terms, internationally renowned. And she has come out clearly and said, look, the mere thought that nothing will change, which is what the Brexit people are saying, and the current Secretary of State for Northern Ireland, she is saying as well, the mere thought that the border will remain as it is, as an open border, is just not feasible. It is not feasible at all. There will have to be a hardening of that border. There will have to be greater controls on that border. Otherwise, there will be free movement via Ireland from Europe into Britain through Northern Ireland. So inevitably, one cannot begin to just say things will remain as they are. That border will have changes. There will be a hardening to that border. And Mary McAleese, in an article in The Guardian, has made that quite clear. And she says, I don't know what's going to be the end result, but neither does anyone else. But changes will be. Anyway, briefly, I want to talk about, can we export, can we trade with the rest of the world outside, when we're inside the European Union? Now, this is a crucial matter. The issue is about the trading arrangements, the trading agreements, and I have some notes here that I will have to refer to so that I don't get it wrong. Currently, there are preferential trading agreements with 52 countries, and we are inside Europe negotiating another 72 at this very moment. So, should we leave, we would have to negotiate and establish new arrangements with 124 countries. A vast amount of work. Brexit says, no problem. Gove and Boris, don't worry, it'll all be solved. It'll be overcome quickly because we are so powerful, we are so big, we are so great. The other countries will say, yes, we will give what you want. But whatever the situation will be, we will have to have those significant trading renegotiations. And all the while, we'll be also negotiating with Europe, leaving the European community. There'll be 2 years in which to do that. Between those 2 years and that amount of work and these trading arrangements that will have to be renegotiated, it's going to take far more than 2 years. It doesn't take a genius to work that out. Whatever the denials, whatever the don't worry, it'll be all right on the night situation, it will take a long time. And that time will involve uncertainty, insecurity, worries about jobs, investment, the economy, growth. It's going to be a very, very uncertain time. But also it's not true that we have to leave the EU to trade with the rest of the world. In fact, we are trading very successfully with the rest of the world. And that is because of the most preferred nations trading agreement, which we have with 53 other countries. And there we produce some, I think it's a high figure, mainly on the financial services side, to countries outside the EU. No one stops us from trading with anyone. We don't need to leave the EU to trade with the rest of the world. So when Gove and those say, oh, we can trade with X, Y, Z, we do already. There is no problem. It is happening, and we are doing it very successfully. Now, only one country has left the European community, and that is Greenland. And they left somewhere around 1985. And they had a referendum, and they narrowly voted to leave the EU on the issue of fishing, because that is their main export, that is their main commodity, fishing. It took 3 years. It took 3 years to negotiate an agreement between the EU and Greenland over the trading arrangements and whatever deal there could be on fishing. We, the UK, export some 4,200 different type of products. How long do you reckon? How long do you reckon it will take for all that to be sorted? And as I said, in the meantime, there will be uncertainty, insecurity, worries, and all sorts of other situations. And when that is all going on, there is there a problem on the Irish border? And whilst that is going on, there'll be the problem, what is likely to happen with Scotland about leaving the Union? I keep on repeating all the time, this is a step too far. It's a leap in the dark. There is no security whatsoever from the Leave EU campaign about what they're suggesting. It is rather, they're taking advantage of a situation as if it's a game. It's not a game, my friends. This is serious business. This is a gamble that we should not contemplate at all.